How I lost a $9,000 potential client. Hey, what is going on? My name is Eliezer or Mr. Seven Figure Man, and as you can see by the title and thumbnail, I want to touch upon a subject on how I lost a client or a potential client of $9,000 just because I made one simple mistake or about 2 to 3 simple mistakes that you can easily avoid. And I don't want you to go through the same pain that I was in, because when you lose a $9,000 client, when you're like literally so close to signing him and you just do one mistake, you weren't prepared enough, you didn't know how to go around the situation in which you were in, it's gonna hurt you during the call, after the call. At least it did to me, and I want to make this video, like I said, to help you avoid it. So basically, when I was in December of 2018, I was cold calling, and I ended up cold calling this realtor, this very successful realtor in Vegas, and he wasn't interested, but I was very persistent, I was very polite, and he liked who I was. So then I ended up, and it's actually on my YouTube channel. If you look at my YouTube channel, I have the whole call on there, or the whole cold call. But I basically took the conversation from 3 minutes, where he said he was not interested, all the way up to 13 minutes. And we ended up scheduling a meeting. The thing is, when we scheduled the meeting, he didn't show up to the meeting. He ghosted me, basically. He wasn't answering my texts, my calls. And what I did was, I told myself, like, I can either give up now, or I can just follow up as hard as I can until I'm forced to give up. And that's what I did. I followed him on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. I already had his phone numbers, and then I had his Zillow account also from Zillow, right? Because he was a real estate agent. So I messaged him on every single platform until he finally responded on text again. And he said, "Hey man, I'm sorry, I've been busy. Let's set up a time to talk." I was like, "Okay, cool." And I was kind of worried that he was gonna bail again, but we set up another time to talk. And now, we're in the meeting. I sent him I had made him a Facebook banner for free, just, before the call, to give him something of value before our call. And we get on the call, and I just start asking him a bunch of questions. I start qualifying him, and he starts asking me about, like, "Oh, what do? You do Facebook ads? How do they work?" And I was just telling him, and he's Hispanic, I'm Hispanic, and we built a really good rapport. And I basically told him how everything worked, and he's like, "Yeah, I think I need that. I think you're right. I think I need to include that into my business." And then he asked, "How much do you charge for your services?" And I was very confident, but at the same time I was like, because it was the most money I was charging at the time, for sure. And I said, "Okay, so for us to make that possible, it's going to be $3,000 a month. How do you feel about that?" And he said, "Whoa, $3,000 a month?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm going to have to think about that." And I was looking at my script, because I had my script in hand, and I said, "Oh, well, like, what exactly is it that you need to think about?" Because that's why I take my time on these calls, to make sure that I answer any questions. And then I said something like this. I said something like, there's 3 reasons why people tell me that they need to think about it, and it's blah blah blah. And he's like, "Yeah, man, I think you're charging too much, and I don't want to undervalue you. I'm pretty sure you're worth a lot. I just can't spend that money right now. I'd rather spend it on Zillow." So he told me to my face, he would rather spend another $3,000 on Zillow instead of paying it to me, when I was going to help grow his personal brand. But that was the problem. I didn't sell it hard enough. I didn't believe enough in what I was selling, because if I truly believed in what it was that I was selling at the time, I would have said, "Hey man, your personal brand, yes, you're growing your Zillow account, and yes, you're getting people in through referrals, but you're not growing your social media platforms. And in the future, this is going to hurt you, because if you don't have a social media established, or yourself as a brand established and well known online, you're not going to keep up with your competitors." But I didn't know how to say that. I didn't know how to frame that, because I was scared to be direct. And that is the mistake that I made. I was too scared to be direct, right? So when the realtor gave me the objection that it's too much money, or I'd rather spend that money with someone else, I wasn't convinced enough, and I wasn't direct enough, because I was scared that I was going to be rude, or I was scared that I was going to be too straightforward, and he was going to want to hang up on me. But I had already built a rapport from the beginning. I had already built a friendship. So I had permission to tell him anything I needed to tell him, in a respectful way, of course. And I basically just said, "Okay, well, I mean, if you don't want services right now, I get it." And then I asked, like, "Hey, can I follow up with you another time to see if we can possibly make this happen?" And that was another mistake that I did. I just gave up on it quick, and I said, "Can we schedule another time to make this happen?" And he said, "Yeah, I mean, just right now, 3,000 is too much. Try following up with me another time." But we both knew that wasn't going to work out. We both knew we weren't going to work out. And I ended up basically getting off the phone call with him. And I try to follow up with him about that same day. I try to follow up with him the next day, the day after that, and no response. I didn't get any responses, and I was hurt, because that was a $9,000 deal. I had told him, like, "Hey, it's gonna be $3,000 per month on a 3-month contract," and he would have been close. He had the money. He was making a lot of money. And if I would have sold it harder, if I would have been more persistent, if I would have handled those objections the right way, and I was more convinced in how I was selling it, I definitely would have gotten that client. And even now, it doesn't affect me now, but I still think of like, man, like I wish I had the skills that I have now back then, so I could have avoided that mistake. All right, so if you're in sales, if you're doing that where you're getting the objection that you know, they don't have enough money or they need to think about it, handle them hard and be polite, but handle them and be very direct. Say whatever you need to say. If you already have a script in front of you that gives you the exact things to say, just go off of it. Because look at that, I already lost the client. I have nothing else to lose. I might as well lose on my own terms by saying what it is that I need to say. Right, so just say whatever it is that you need to say to a prospect. If you really care about them, if you really want to help grow their business, you need to be direct with them and tell them that, like, hey, this change needs to be made, otherwise you're going to stay in the same place that you're in. And that is a $9,000 mistake that I made, that it hurt me at the time, and I want you to avoid it. So if that helped you, if you have any questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram. It is Mr._7figureman. And yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to making more videos and seeing how I can help you guys. But I hope you have a great one, and we'll talk soon.